Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, this is Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things nerdy through a common sense lens. And well, to add even more fuel to the fire and basically essentially confirm the rumor and the speculation that we just reported on the other day, it looks like it is indeed true that Tony Gilroy doesn't give a crap about Dave Filoni's canon and doesn't care anything about what Dave Filoni has to say. And obviously this kind of reconfirms what we'd heard about the fact that he had to go to Kathleen Kennedy directly, and even to get the fan favorite Star Wars series Andor actually end up being made. And obviously a lot of fans have really enjoyed this show. They've made their voices very much heard on social media. You've even had critics, of course, inside of the legacy institutions out there say that they really enjoy it, and that a lot of people are referencing it as the good Star Wars show over there on Disney Plus, especially concerning all of the abominations we've had. Well, obviously this has caused a lot of tension inside of Disney Star Wars, and it looks like Tony Gilroy doesn't give a flying flip what anybody else out there thinks, because he admitted in a recent interview we're hijacking canon. Yes, boys and girls, Tony Gilroy completely and totally rewrote a scene from Dave Filoni's precious Rebels show, which is considered canon, and completely and totally rewrote it. And the best part is, even the actress involved in the scene much prefers what Tony Gilroy did over the infamous Dave Filoni. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is a beautiful thing to see, and who knows, maybe we'll get lucky and Tony Gilroy will actually be the heir apparent and not Dave Filoni. Maybe that's just me being wishful thinking. So we're going to check out this article. We're going to get all the juicy details of exactly what he said and watch him completely and totally shoot down Dave Filoni's canon. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 1,900. We're heading our way towards 2K once again, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Have you really enjoyed Andor? Are you a fan of this kind of version of Star Wars? Do you like this kind of storytelling and the pace it is? Does it surprise you at all that Dave Filoni doesn't like this kind of stuff at all? And of course, that Tony Gilroy simply doesn't care because he's best buds with Kathy Kennedy. Let us know think about all that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description down below, where you can become a member, get access to a bunch of cool emojis for our live streams, get access to members only streams where you get to hang out and talk with me about a bunch of the nerdy stuff, and of course get your name at the end credits of every single one of these videos, as well as the live streams. So all right, boys and girls, from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet Marvin Montanero, Tony Gilroy rewrites Filoni's Rebels canon in Andor Season 2 and doesn't hold back. We're hijacking canon. Oh, you gotta love to hear it, especially with the kind of abomination, trash, garbage canon that Dave Filoni's been writing over the last few years. A pivotal moment in Tony Gilroy's Andor Season 2 may have overwritten a pivotal moment from Dave Filoni's Star Wars Rebels. The quiet feud inside of Lucasfilm may not be so quiet anymore. Following a recent podcast that exposed Dave Filoni's alleged gatekeeping of the Star Wars franchise, Andor showrunner Tony Gilroy is making it clear he's not playing by Filoni's rules. In fact, he's rewriting them, and I think that is a beautiful thing to see, boys and girls, because I, for one, I know a lot of people loved Star Wars Clone Wars, and how you feel about Rebels, but I'm sorry, I was boring. I just could not get into it. I tried 3 or 4 times, gave it an honest attempt, and I was just bored to tears. I didn't like it. I just thought it was trash, and as far as I'm concerned, Dave Filoni is a hack that is extremely overhyped among the Star Wars fan base, but that's just this humble common nerd's opinion, but apparently it's Tony Gilroy's opinion as well. A new interview with, and also if you want the full details on all of that backlash, go check out our video that we just put out the other day covering all of the details of what's going on behind the scenes at Star Wars and all of the divide over Andor and all that kind of stuff. Go check that out. A new interview with Entertainment Weekly reveals that Andor Season 2 directly rewrites a major canon event from Star Wars Rebels, a series created and overseen by Dave Filoni. The incident in question is the Gorman Massacre and Mon Mothma's iconic speech denouncing Emperor Palpatine, a pivotal moment in the founding of the Rebel Alliance. Obviously, it would be a big deal because that's essentially when Mon Mothma puts the giant target on the back of her head, right on her back. So literally that's when like the whole Empire and Palpatine and everybody else knows, yeah, it's full on now, boys and girls. Ain't no messing around. Well, guess what? Tony Gilroy thought the version inside of Filoni's version was crap, or at least his brother did. In Rebel Season 3, Episode 18, Secret Cargo, that speech is delivered aboard a Rebel ship after Mon Mothma is rescued by the Gold Squadron, but Gilroy and his brother Dan Gilroy, who co-writes the show, clearly had other ideas, and they weren't exactly subtle about their feelings. This is wonderful. We are hijacking canon, Gilroy admitted to Entertainment Weekly, referencing the original Rebels episode. In canon, she's rescued by the Gold Squadron, and the speech that they gave in the cartoon was a canonical show. So obviously, and that's exactly what it was. So obviously he's watched it. Obviously he's well aware of this. He knows all about it, right? And it's on that ship. And Danny, his brother, is like, do I have to stick with this effing speech? Like, I love that. That tells you everything you need to know about their opinion of Dave Filoni's writing and that speech. Do I have to stick with this effing speech? I mean, that's just glorious. That flat out tells you he thought this was garbage. He thought this was trash. And guess what? He's not the only one, but we're going to get to that in a minute. I just think that is so funny. Like, this is so nice to hear people admitting, like these people that work for Disney Star Wars, these people that are inside the know, admit it to another legacy media institution like Entertainment Weekly that yes, Dave Filoni is a hack. His stuff is garbage. His stuff is trash. He cannot write to save his life. You know what I mean? And now, knowing the fact that he has been the gatekeeper and he's been the one that's responsible for Ahsoka and The Acolyte, both shows that did absolutely abysmally bad, worse than any other Disney Star Wars show that we had seen on Disney Plus as to date, yeah, I think that kind of confirms what Common Nerd's been saying for years. Filoni is a hack. As my dear sweet friend Tim Hayes says, it's Dave Baloney, boys and girls. And apparently, Tony Gilroy's brother agrees. Same thing with Tony. And the line says it all. The Andor boss makes no attempt to hide his disdain for the existing Rebels version of events. Instead, Andor recontextualizes the moment, moving Mon Mothma's public break with the Empire to a dramatic Senate speech on Coruscant long before her escape, which honestly makes sense, right? Like that would mirror Emperor Palpatine's speech, right, in Revenge of the Sith, where he's out there announcing the Galactic Empire and all of that kind of stuff. So that would actually make sense and would be a much better balance. But of course, Dave Filoni just does whatever he wants and doesn't actually try to, maybe study the stuff that came before and actually try to mirror some things to give fans what they want and would actually go over better. Well, at least Tony Gilroy understands that. And while Gilroy claims the rewrite still minimizes but keeps consistent with the Rebels, Hollywood speak for, hey, what I did was fine. It's not that big a deal. It's not really that much of a rewrite of the canon. It's not like this is Doctor Who, you know what I mean? And I'm Chris Chibnall. No. We're not going to go quite that far on things. It's clearly a backhanded nod, if not a full dismissal toward Lucasfilm's chief creative officer and Rebels creator, Dave Filoni. It absolutely is. Let's be blunt. Andor is playing by a completely different rulebook. It's grounded, politically charged, and adult-oriented storytelling. Everything Filoni's animated legacy and the most recent Ahsoka series, which was just nothing more than Tumblr fanfic for Dave Filoni. Remember the giant phallic rods that Ahsoka was rubbing? Yeah. Or not. And it's not just the fans who are seeing the disconnect. Genevieve OReilly, who plays Mon Mothma in both Andor and Rebels, this is the same lady who gave that speech in Dave Filoni's Rebels, described the new version of the speech as the defining moment of her character. The defining moment of Mon Mothma's character, one of the most crucial and critical people to the story of Star Wars that you don't see a lot, but is literally the only reason the Rebel Alliance ever actually happened to a large degree. She says the Gilroy version is the defining moment of her character. This isn't fans saying this. This isn't some chud out there just trying to criticize because, oh, why do you just hate everything? This is the actress herself saying that Gilroy's version is superior and the defining moment of her character versus the garbage trash she was stuck with Filoni. Filoni baloney, after all. His baloney. There you go. His baloney. something the Rebels version never accomplished. That's everything I really wanted to do, she said. That's the fulcrum of who Mon Mothma is. I hope it means something to people because it felt really great to be able to give her that voice. Exactly that. For her to be able to stand up and be proud and be open and throw it right back into the evil face of Emperor Palpatine and going, no, sir, we will not stand. I will publicly denounce you in front of absolutely everyone. I will make my opinion known. And I know exactly the consequences of that. It's literally the give me liberty or give me death speech, because you know the consequences of those actions. It's signing your name to the Declaration of Independence and sending it off to the king, knowing there was going to be a target on your back for the rest of your life, or at least for the rest of the endurance of the war. That's how she did it, like a boss. Not on some spaceship while she's escaping, while she's running away. No, she stands there in the middle of the room and goes, F you, Palpatine, right to his face and right in front of God and everybody. That's how you do a scene, not running away like a scared little coward and doing it over to voice radio. Dave Filoni. No wonder Gilroy and his brother despise your garbage. I despise it too, and I haven't even seen it. That's how bad it is. This wasn't just a tweak. It was a total rewrite of one of Filoni's most iconic scenes. And Gilroy seems proud of that fact. Taken together with the Joanne Robinson's recent claim, we talked about that, the Fona Wall, this latest revelation confirms what fans have long suspected. Lucasfilm is not united. Some may even say civil war. Filoni's shows rely on animated legacy characters, Jedi mysticism, and increasing convoluted mythology. You know, literally just rinsing and repeating all of the stuff he's done before, except not actually having an idea how to keep it straight and consistent. Yeah, that. Gilroy's Andor rejects all of that in favors of grounded, original storytelling. Oh, I know, strange concept. Original storytelling, a new concept, something we haven't seen before. I don't know, maybe in a place that doesn't just rely on, hey, you remember this character? You remember this character? You love that character, right? Yeah. All the Easter eggs and all the ridiculous kind of, people just coming in for the sake of people coming in. Yeah. You remember berries? You remember? Yeah, that's what Filoni's good at. Gilroy's Andor rejects all of that in favor of a grounded, original storytelling. And the fact that Andor is rewriting Filoni's canon openly and with a smirk only underscores the deeper war happening behind the scenes. And honestly, you know what? If it really comes down to it, I know Andor cost like $1 billion to make for season 1 and season 2, right? Like we heard the numbers about all of that kind of stuff. We know how much that thing cost. But if a lot of the fans, and like I said, maybe Tony Gilroy's style of doing television shows isn't just for me, right? I'm not one of those. I'm not a slow burn kind of guy. Like you gotta give me a hook, right? You gotta give me a reason to do it. And I loved Rogue One, right? It's the only Star Wars movie that I like, or Disney Star Wars movie that I like. It's the only one out of the Disney production era that I've gone back and watched more than once. You know, I literally only saw the other ones in theaters, and I've never gone back and watched them again. But I enjoy Rogue One. I really like the characters. I like Cassian Andor and all that kind of stuff. But it was just one of those things. Like I was so burnt out by Star Wars after what they'd done to Gina Carano and what they'd just done to the canon, what they'd done to Obi-Wan and everything else. I was just like, I'm not even going to bother with this show. And then everybody says like it's a slow burn. You really got to give it its time and yada, yada, yada. And even with like Critical Drinker coming out earlier this week or like late last week or whatever, saying that, oh my God, this last three episodes of Andor is like the best Star Wars I've seen since the original trilogy, which coming from a guy like Critical Drinker, that is insane praise, because Drinker has been very critical of Disney Star Wars basically the entire time. So it's one of them situations where, but even then, like I got to spend 16 hours of my life through a slow burn in order to get to 3 episodes of really great and fantastic stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I'm glad to see that there are a lot of fans out there that are really enjoying this show. And it sounds like now we know exactly why. This guy's doing his own thing. He's basing his own stories in the Star Wars world, and he's giving the big F you to Filoni by rewriting his own canon. And that's exactly what we need, given there's a lot of the Disney Star Wars canon that pretty much all of it needs to be rewrote, like basically the entire sequel trilogy. But at the end of the day, people will eventually get something good out of Star Wars, right? It all depends if the right people are stayed in charge. I don't know how deep Filoni's hooks are inside of the Disney company with Bob Iger. and stuff like that. I have no idea. But imagine a world where Tony Gilroy is a person that's in charge of Disney Star Wars, right? That the quote-unquote heir apparent, Dave Filoni, that was supposed to be George Lucas' successor, they could say, I talked to George about all of this, and he's perfectly okay with it. Yeah, okay, Filoni baloney. But literally, that would be a cool thing to see, because it does seem like a lot of the fans are very happy with this direction. A lot of people have really enjoyed it. And even though the ratings aren't great, at the end of the day, you know what? If this ends up being the future of Star Wars, it's got to be better than the Dave Filoni stuff we've got. And I just love the fact that Tony Gilroy is like, you know what, Dave Filoni, you're a fraud, you're a hack, your stuff sucks, so I'm going to rewrite it, I'm going to make it better, and even the actress herself is going to love it more than anything she ever did with you. It's like, ha ha, you thought he was good? Oh, honey, come wait till you get a piece of this. You'll never go anywhere else. And that's exactly what has happened. So you know what? Screw Dave Filoni. Shout out to Tony Gilroy, smacking him down and doing it publicly and rewriting the garbage trash that Filoni has done. Because guess what? Nobody saw Rebels anyway, and a lot more people saw Andor. So shout out to Tony Gilroy and the future continuation of the Civil War going inside of Star Wars itself, inside of Disney Lucasfilm. Or at least we can hope. But at the end of the day, Disney Star Wars, you will get exactly what you deserve. You too, Filoni.